So when we began planning the theme of Stewardship Sunday, our ties to TUUC, one idea was to have everyone wear their favorite tie, or ties, to worship this morning. This is an it church. We value a sense of humor, a sense of play, and we like to have fun. The idea of inviting everyone to wear a tie affirmed that there is something eternal in every human being, just as there is something unique and unrepeatable about the identity of every human being. Inviting everyone to wear a tie had the added benefit of reminding one another of our mission to educate. Why? Because at some point, each one of us learned to tie. A tie, a shoe, a bow, a knot, from someone. And generally, this person was older. Michael Chitwood lifted this up in his poem on ties, addressed to his father, in which he wrote, "Over, under, down, through, the print or stripe should match the blue. Sundays only, Granddad wore one. Saturdays only, you did not. Over, under, down, through. Granddad's hung on the back of the bedroom door, knotted all week. Before services, eat cinch-it and grin. Proud his boy felt this pinch every working day. My back against your chest, you talked me into the knot, over, under, down, through. Then you'd snug it, just short of choking, and call me Mr. Chitwood, the name you dressed in every morning to leave the house." So our identity is formed by those who gave us life, gave us our name, modeled a meaningful life, modeled work, and taught us to tie. We arrive here knowing, like Michael Chitwood, that both visible and invisible ties bind us to this religious community. With vision and love, manual labor, and work of the mind, our founders began this congregation 54 years ago, and they learned of the ties that bind us in our faith tradition from the previous generations of religious forebears. Blessed be the ties that bind. The idea of inviting everyone to wear a tie had the added benefit of reminding one another of our mission to inspire. What? What is inspiring about ties as an article of clothing? What is inspiring about articles of clothing one has to tie or cinch, especially for us come-as-you-are Unitarian Universalists? The poet Joseph Robert Mills offers one possible answer. In describing a family holiday gathering, he writes, "We decide to take a break from the eating, drinking, and arguing, our traditional holiday pastimes, to walk around the ice-encased neighborhood. In the hallway, we sort through the piles of coats, hats, and gloves, pulling out what we think we need. And when I get to the door, my father calls me back to drape a scarf around my neck. Well, in my 40s, I don't like scarves any more than when I was 6. But now, having kids, I recognize what his fingers are trying to say as they adjust the wool. And I hope he recognizes what I'm trying to say by not moving. It's not much, but since neither of us needs anything the other can buy, we try to exchange what we can, a protective touch and a willingness to be touched." Well, just as Mills was uplifted by his father's care, we are inspired by a protective touch and a willingness to be touched here. Here, part of our mission is to be touched, to be open, to be receptive, to reach out, if not with a scarf, then with a hello, a smile, a how are you, and to rest in each other's shelter. Blessed be the ties that bind. Finally, the idea of inviting everyone to wear their favorite tie or ties was a symbolic reminder of our mission to transform. The Irish poet Galway Kinnell writes how when one has lived a long time alone, one yearns for ties to others, not of the Joseph A. Banks cloth variety, but of relationships. One yearns for a place where, in Kinnell's words, the gaze of the new baby looks past the gaze of the great granny, and where lovers speak on lips blowsy from kissing, that language the same in each mouth, and like birds at daybreak blether the song that is both earth's and heaven's, until the sun has risen, and they stand in the daylight of being made one, kingdom come. The Tuuc Unitarian Universalist Church is such a community of all ages. Like Stillwater, Koo, Addie, Michael, Carl, and Miss Whitaker, we seek together what we have found to be worthy of our faithful love. Then in the light of this vision and in the light of our values, we work together to change our wider community and even the world. We are transformed in the process. Blessed be the ties that bind. In the past few weeks, we've heard wonderful stewardship testimonials expressing gratitude for these ties of education, inspiration, and transformation. But last Sunday, I was reminded that the ties that bind us together not only link us with our past history, nor with the programs currently happening in our community that we want to sustain. The ties that bind us together are also to a future we have yet to know. I received a Facebook message from Andrew Hager. He wrote that last Sunday afternoon, he heard his 6-year-old daughter, Mia, playing, or rather, role-playing. Specifically, he heard Mia say, "Good morning. For those of you who do not know me, my name is the Reverend Clare Petersburg. Do we have any visitors who would like to be introduced or who would like to introduce themselves?" She went through the whole thing. Andrew decided to play along with his daughter. He became Visitor Bob. So Mia asked Visitor Bob his name, his middle name, where he was from, how many kids he had, and when his birthday was. Andrew advised me that this line of questioning was okay at home, but not to try such ruthless interrogation on visitors here at church. They might find it intrusive. As she role-played being Mia Rev Clare, or at least a Unitarian Universalist minister, Mia went on to invite Visitor Bob to drop stones during the prelude. She and Visitor Bob may have sung the first line of "Wo Ya Ya" as a hymn. And then she announced that the theme of worship was birthdays. She was going to her best friend's birthday party that day. This had something to do with her choice of birthdays as a theme. On the other hand, here we encourage one another to celebrate the gift of life every day. So birthdays are an excellent worship theme. Finally, Mia announced that she would not be giving a sermon. Instead, she would be going downstairs to take photographs of the children. I was talking to Trace think about that. Our children, she was aware that she doesn't know what goes on in a sermon, right? So she's not going to be doing a sermon, but she knew there was one. Out of the mouths of babes. We are stewards of this congregation's founding, current programs, and future. Now, I don't know that Mia will grow up to become a Unitarian Universalist minister, but I do know that this is an it church when a child chooses to role play our worship. Mia remembered the ideas that we have a worship theme, that we welcome visitors, and we reach out to people we don't yet know, that we have rituals like dropping stones, that we have religious education classes. She knew about the energy and spirit of this congregation, and she wanted to make them her own. She did make them her own in her role play. Blessed be the ties that bind. So when I think of our annual pledge drive, it is not in PBS terms. I do not think, what am I willing to pay for my favorite programs to renew in the coming year? Instead, I think of our annual pledge drive in terms of stewardship and making this community our own through our care for its future. I accept the invitation to pledge a percentage of my salary and housing to this congregation because I know that we can't be the kind of congregation we envision and want to be in the future. We can't embody the amazingly good news of liberal religion without financial resources to make it possible. Stewardship is about our future, about our promise to inspire, educate, and transform lives, and to continue to grow in depth and breadth as an it congregation. So during the rest of worship, I won't be going downstairs to take photographs of our students, but Mia's role play reminds me of my hopes for this congregation's future. At the tender age of 6, Mia knows that something is eternal. And it ain't houses, and it ain't names, and it ain't earth, and it ain't even the stars. Something is eternal, and that something has to do with human beings. Our love, idealism, and energy, our stewardship of this community of spiritual seekers does transform lives and change the world. So be ours a religion that goes like sunshine everywhere. In affirmation of this, let us join in singing Wouldn't It Be Loverly, printed on the insert in your order of service.